Erica, are you there?
Hello, lovely Colleen. Yep, I'm here. How are you?
Are you going to hide behind that picture of you looking epic?
No, I won't.
I was going to say, are you secretly wearing a top bun and pajamas?
I put my face on this morning, so.
I put mine on for you today, too. I did my hair and everything.
Did you get some new tips?
So the extensions that I showed you that I had, they're growing out of it, right? Of course, I don't have a beautician to take them out. So what I did is I took all the extensions and I dyed them blue and pink. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be taking them out in a couple of weeks anyway. Why not? So this my real hair is still its natural color. My extensions, however, are pretty fun right now.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good job.
So yeah, I feel like a My Little Pony, but it's fun.
Awesome. Well, I'm trying to get Steven on here.
He registered, right?
I don't know. I'm just going to send him my link if he...
Yeah, if you send him the email I forwarded you, because I was doing that from my phone this morning and I didn't have Steven's address in my phone.
Well, I sent him the invite thing because he's not like on the email list, right? The member list. So right. I forwarded that to him, but I think he didn't register. I think he's just like, oh, there we are. But
Nope, he has to register. Yep. All right, guys. All right, so we have about 20 people in right now. We're probably still having people come in and out. Household rules, as usual. Please mute yourself upon coming in and make sure that your phone's muted, or if you're using a mic, that's muted, just for background noise. If you have kids that have escaped, you tying them up somewhere and they're making noise in the background, or you have a husband that's just like really just kind of over being in quarantine and he's whining, we want to make sure that that's kind of blocked off so that we can hear the speakers present today, of course. So please participate. That doesn't mean we don't want you to chime in. If you want to take yourself off mute and be like, hey, I got a question, that's totally fine. I know Erica and Steven love that. In addition to that, I'll be monitoring the chat with Steven. So between the two of us, we'll keep the conversation going. Please feel free to use your chat tool. And that means that you can put in comments if you have questions, if you have anything that you want to stop and discuss, let's do it. Because we always, first and foremost, even though we're bringing all this content, we want to make this engaging. And our Zoom in calls will continue. We're in a Zoom in world, as it were. So we will be continuing to kind of have these probably a little bit more. In fact, Danielle Putnam, who I don't know if she's going to come in today or not, but she is my partner in most of this as far as when we're organizing these calls. She is going to be having a baby any day now. So, so she's going to be going on maternity leave soon. So going forward, I'm actually going to have our own Sarah Hammond help organize a lot of these calls so that we're going to be bringing you some more content. And with the new normal right now, we're going to be trying to kind of amp that up and provide a couple more sessions than we normally do. So we might be doing 3 a month, or if we can fit it in, maybe even 4. But that's kind of the goal right now, so that we're all able to get together and kind of see each other and still kind of learn. Appreciate everybody that's here today. And we have a special guest. We have Erica and Steven from Power Selling Pros. A lot of you know them. I already saw some hives going around there. But they have a special topic for us today, which I have no idea what it's covering. So it's about a mystery to me as it is to you. But they want to know what your favorite F word is. And though I wrote up a list, I was told earlier that it was inappropriate for the phone call. So we will let them take the screen now and explain what it is they're here to share today. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Very
Colleen.
cool. Thank you, Colleen. So, of course, you can see up there, we've got the absolutely amazing Erica Leonore, and then myself is Steven. And we are with Power Selling Pros. We are the company that trains in the home services industries for customer experience, for employee experience, and ultimately how to create that wow and effortless experience for your customer. So, first of all, I want to say thank you to the women of HVAC. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Danielle. What an amazing organization. So we are truly, from the deepest part of our heart, Really blessed to be a partner. Erica is actually on the board of the Women of HVAC. So, and as a guy in the heating and air industry and the plumbing industry for the last 20 years, I love having women in our world of HVAC. So I think all of you that are of the female persuasion, you absolutely rock. So just wanted to share that with you this morning. So this is a fun topic. So what's your favorite F word, right? It's funny when Erica and I started thinking about this, we said, what is your favorite F word? And of course, my favorite F word was, beep. I'm kidding. That wasn't it. All right. So we started coming up with a list of favorite F words. Yeah, I'm into fitness. I'm going to fit this whole pizza into my mouth. When we were thinking about our F words, one word that I started with at the beginning of this year was the word fitness. So the word that I chose to start my year off with, not a New Year's resolution, but a word that I could embrace. And the word that I chose was fitness, because I wanted to become a healthy person. Now, am I a healthy person today? No, but I am becoming a healthy person. So what I mean by that is my past doesn't dictate who I am today. Just because of what I have today or what I don't have today, that doesn't dictate who I am becoming. So one of the things that we like to ask the people that we coach and that we do training is who are you becoming? What are you doing to become in a different, basically, maybe I guess I would say maybe something new, because we form our habits and then our habits form us. So it's interesting. So right now, as I'm becoming healthy, and this is something that has to be a really consistent act, meaning I've been doing this for about the last 8 weeks now. I'm eating healthier, I'm exercising, and yet I really don't see the results that I would like to see like immediately. Because doggone it, we live in America, right? We have first world problems, and I want it now, but I don't see it now. So if I worked out really hard today for 9 hours, would I see the results? Probably not. If I did that the next day and worked out, would I see the results? Probably not. But see, if I do this small activity every day over a course of time, that power of consistency, I will eventually start to see those results that I'm looking for. So right now, Erica, my F word is fitness. So that's what I am working to become. Here's another one of my favorite F words is focus. What you focus on grows. And trust me, the way the mind works is what you focus on, you will find. Think of it like this. Think about the last time that you purchased a car, all right? Whether it was a new car, a used car, if you remember that process, right? You do some research looking for the car, you read some articles, and then at some point you determined the exact make, the exact model, you determined the year, you even determined the color. And then something remarkable happened. All of a sudden, over the next week or two, you started seeing these cars everywhere you drove. Oh my goodness, you see like 15 a day, like every intersection. You're like, there's my car, there's my car. Did suddenly all of a sudden these cars just appear? Like everyone bought your car over the weekend? No, that's silly. Because what you focus on is what you will find. Your mind will create evidence in order to justify what you're focusing on. Example, if you are a Republican, and we're not going to talk politics, but if you are a Republican, you can find evidence in everything to show you some snowflake liberals. And if you're a Democrat, you can look at the same evidence to discover some echelon Republicans, right? If you're a Christian and you look at a sunset and you're like, oh my goodness, look at God's power. That's amazing. If you're an atheist, you may look at the same sunset, right? And be like, wow, this all happened by accident, right? So what you focus on is what you will find. Those are two great F words, right, Erica? So what you focus on is what you will find. So this is a really interesting time right now. To say that we're living in uncertain times is kind of a massive understatement. I mean, I've been blessed to be on this earth now for 45 years. I know I look much younger, but I've gone through 9/11. I've gone through the housing market. I've gone through the financial crisis. I've lived through periods of tremendous change and turmoil in the world. And at various moments in the history of society when no one could predict what would happen next. But the level of fear and uncertainty that we're currently witnessing is almost unprecedented. I mean, I see it on people's faces. I hear it in their voices. And now that we're all in our homes, we're self-quarantined with very little real connection with each other. I'm witnessing it on social media. And I see we're scared of being hurt. We're scared of the economy. We're scared of not being in control. And now we're even scared of each other. But don't get me wrong. Fear is a natural human instinct. It's our 2 million-year-old brain that's designed to protect ourselves in this moment for the sake of survival. It's always looking for what's wrong so that you can either fight, you can run away from threat, or you can freeze. But if you do one of these three things every time that you're fearful or that you have pain, you're going to be consistently fighting, running away, or stopping and putting your life on hold. And really, that's no way to live. I mean, think of it this way. Every day, maybe not right now because we're self-quarantined, but before this started, you would get on the road down on a highway with nothing but a yellow painted line dividing you from cars that are hurling down the opposite side at 70 miles an hour. Or if you're like me in Texas, 90 miles an hour. And you know that every single day, people cross that line and they kill innocent people on the other side. Some of those people are driving drunk, some are texting, some are falling asleep. And yet we still get in our cars and we drive. Why is that? It's because of another F word that's 100 times more powerful than fear, and that's faith. See, I believe that faith is not learned. It's something that we're born with. Faith is what fuels us through times of fear and uncertainty. So I believe it's more important than any emotion, even fear. And when all this craziness is broken loose around us, it gives us the ability to find our center, to help ourselves and others to find answers, to find a higher meaning in the midst of our pain, in the spite of our fear. So you as a leader, you can take that certainty and transfer it to others because human connection has a viral effect and it will spread, right? You being unwavering in this chaotic time is about the power of faith. And so I believe that faith is knowing that at our core, we're more than anything we will ever face. And we can handle whatever life brings us. We're always here. We will always have, and we will always have crazy things in our life. But the power is in the human race. So just because you fell, it doesn't mean we stop trying. I believe we're eternal optimists. We fell and we try again. If any of you have kids and you remember when they were little babies and they started to walk, and the moment they started to walk, you were like, come on, come on. And then they would fall. They failed. What did you do when they fell? Were you like, oh my goodness, come on, you're a loser, you can't walk? Come on, it's one foot after the other. How hard is that? No. You know what you did? You became the biggest cheerleader. And you're like, come on, you got it. And they would do 2 steps, And then they would fall. And then they would do 3 steps. And then they would fall. Then they would walk across the room. And it was so magical. So I just think that we are eternal optimists inside. And so when you look at some really successful companies around the world today, most of those leaders and founders have experienced massive failure many times over before they were ever successful. So think about some of the happiest, most connected couples you know. Chances are each of them have failed at relationships in the past, but did they give up? No, they learned, they adapted, right? They grew and they started over. So the beautiful gift of being human is that we are resilient as species, right? We're adaptable by nature. So this won't be the only crazy crisis that this world will ever go through. And it won't be the only crazy crisis for you personally to go through, or maybe even for a loved one to go through. But people are not shaped by how things are going right now. They're shaped by how they react in the most difficult times. So I know this is a bit of a rant. This is on my heart, so I had to get this out, Erica. But I believe that life is both pleasure and pain. It's both opportunity and challenge. It's both birth and death. And there's a season and a time for everything. And it's not necessarily for us to decide what is the right season is or what season we should be in. It's our job to embrace the season that's been given to us. And in this uncomfortable moment, it feels like maybe like winter. You know, like everyone's isolated in their homes. They're trying to protect themselves from the cold and stay warm. And for many people, it's a season of boredom. I mean, schools are and restaurants are closed. Social events are on hold. Office workers like yourself are homebound. Healthcare workers are feeling like trepidation, meaning that they're afraid of this dangerous exposure. But it reminds me of a quote that Nobel Prize-winning philosopher Albert Camus once said. He said, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that there was in me an invincible summer." An invincible summer. And as spring is here and as summer is coming, winter doesn't last forever. Spring will always follow, and we will spring back to normal life like we always do, like we've done for centuries, right? And when we do, my question to you is, will you be prepared? Are you trained for future challenges? You see, the meeting of preparation and opportunity generates the offspring that many of us just call luck. And in every crisis lies opportunity. People who are successful are not lucky. They're just prepared for opportunities that come their way. You see, anticipation is power. What are you doing during this season? Are you just going to sit back in boredom? And maybe out of boredom, are you going to just join the fearful crowds and magnify this meaning and exaggerate this risk to the point of where this is the only worst case scenario? Or will you create disempowering emotions and bring yourself and others down? Or will you build them up? Or will you discipline your fears and stand guard at the door of your mind and rise to the challenge that's facing us and empower yourself and empowers others? So I just believe, regardless of what's happening around you, there's a part of you that's strong. And I challenge you today to call on that part of you that's hungry, that part of you that is courageous in the face of fear, the part that won't put you up with excuses in smallness, but to step up, to become the person that you were made to become. So this is your private time. This is your time for training. This is your time to practice. This is your time to prepare for what's ahead. right? It's a time to rebrand. It's a time to start working on your business. If you want to work on your health because you're less healthy than you were, now's the time to focus on improving that. If your relationships have become stagnant or distant, now's the time to reconnect with your loved ones. Business owners, sit down, work on your business, to strategize, to envision the business that you want to become, to succeed, to create this new environment, right? You've got to make your map, learn, and grow. I guarantee you this season will end. And when it does, will you emerge ahead of everyone else? Or will you just be stagnant? Will you leapfrog past your peers, past your competitors? So Erica, that's my faith thought of lead, don't follow, discover ways to innovate, to create. And so here at Power Selling Pros, we're just very passionate because I believe it is a mindset. So Erica, you got this little perspective photo up here. I hope that was okay. Did I talk too much? I went on my little rant, Colleen. I told you it was going to happen. Perspective is really interesting. If you were to look at this photo, what do you see? I don't know if they can put this in their chat or they can unmute themselves, but what do you see on this?
Or I don't know, maybe they could draw or chat. What do you guys see when you see that?
Do you see a duck? Oh, someone sees a rabbit. I see a duck. I see a rabbit. I see a bunny. That's cute.
I saw a duck, but now I see a bunny.
Yeah, at first you see the duck, but then if you look at the far right where not where the bill is, but the other side, that's the bunny's nose, right? Perspective. Show me another one, Erica. What do you see in this drawing? I see a lady, a young lady. I see a lady in a fur. I see a young lady looking away. Okay. That's what I saw first, was the lady. Now, if you look at the tip down, well, I can't really point at it. You can, Erica. Does anyone see the old lady with a hat? Yeah, someone saw that. All right.
Look at the young lady's chin and turn that into the nose of an old lady. Do you guys see the old lady?
See that? Has anyone ever heard the phrase perception is reality? Again, it's a perspective. Either the world is falling or this is a great opportunity to rebrand. This is a great opportunity to innovate. And so next slide, Erica. Oh, go ahead.
We did a survey a few months ago where we surveyed 100 homeowners across the country. We just sent this out to a bunch of different homeowners, and we asked them, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you think of HVAC contractor or the HVAC industry? And it was amazing that around like 50 people said, oh, I think of an AC guy, a technician, or a furnace. They said those words, but the other 50 responses that we got, people said things like, oh, I think of a blue jumpsuit. I think of someone who's going to rip me off. I think it's unsafe. I'm going to be taken advantage of. Somebody said, crap, never call them. This takes forever. I just think of an ugly truck. Like, people said the most random things when they thought of HVAC. And for me, that was a big deal because I love this industry, and I know all of you do too. We love working in this industry, but why was it that 50% of homeowners out there who don't interact with contractors or the industry very much have a negative perspective on us? And so it got us going into a lot of different research that I'm not going to go into for today, but it's interesting that we do have a huge opportunity right now, as Stephen says, to help change that perspective that 50% of homeowners are having right now. and I know not all of you are contractors, but involved in this industry, we all have a role that we can play to help shift the perspective of how people see us in this industry, and not some of those really negative kind of crappy things that people said. And so taking advantage of this opportunity and showing them really what we're made of, and providing them with better experiences for them to be able to change that perspective. And so if any of you have ever worked with us before or seen us do presentations, you're probably familiar with the pattern for excellence. These 8 core principles are what we work off of all the time in all of our training and in all of our communication. So we're just going to go through 8 of them and apply them to how we're doing today in the world, and relate them to some favorite F words. So,
Okay.
So our first one here is our positive emotion, our positive principle. And we all know that we can be a positive person, we can have a good attitude. But if any of you follow Simon Sinek, I read something that he recently posted, and he said, being positive and being an optimist are 2 different things. And positivity is, sure, it's like an attitude I can have, it can be part of who I am, but being an optimist, a lot of times people think that an optimistic person is a naive person. You're like, oh, you're just too optimistic about that. Oh, you just, you know what I mean? Like you just think too good of things about that. Great, I love your optimistic attitude. A lot of times people throw that under the bus like it's a negative thing. But being an optimist is a beautiful thing to have amidst especially crisis situations. An optimist is somebody who accepts reality but still hopes for a better future. And accepting the reality, like, yes, things are going crazy right now, but understanding as well that we're going to have a brighter future, we're going to get through this, and we're going to do everything that we can to be a part of that brighter future. I love being an optimist. And yes, people have, negated it before. People have said, oh, you're so naive, but that's who I would rather be. So here we're going to talk about all the favorite F word I know we're all thinking about right now.
It's Simon Sinek. Someone asked on the chat if Simon Sinek wrote a book called Start With Why. It's like the top 3 TED Talks ever. I would encourage you, first of all, you should go to TED.com, or you should be watching TED Talks. But Simon Sinek, Start With Why. Watch that 18-minute video. You'll get hooked. You'll get hooked. There it is right there. Start With Why.
It was like $8 on Amazon. So
well worth it. So go back, Erica. Show me. Oh my goodness, what F word is this?
Oh my goodness, what do you think we're going to talk about? Did anybody want to have this F word when like everything got canceled? Because seriously, like Stephen and I were on the road all the time and going across the country training, and literally like the rest of you, it was within 48 hours, every single thing that we were ever going to, every conference, every trade show, every speaking, every training, everything, like within 2 days was wiped off the calendar. And we were like, oh my gosh, like we got a little worried. Absolutely. And I'm sure this word has gone on in people's minds. I'm sure many of you have felt the same thing, is when everything just like stopped and people got quarantined, and we're probably just saying, oh, freak, like what are we going to do with our business? And so even though we might feel like this, and it's okay if we might feel like this one day, my point with this is we don't want to build a house on this kind of feeling. This is not where we want to reside and where we want to live. One of my favorite quotes is from a philosopher named Hafiz. And he said, the words you speak become the house you live in. And if we're always kind of going off with this kind of language and just really banging this negativity all around, and what's contagious? We all know that this is just as contagious as that optimism and that positivity. And contagious is a big word right now. Stay away from me, give me my social distancing. But people can definitely feel our actions if they're like people see our actions, and if we are basing those actions off of a freak, what's going on, that's going to be highly contagious. And So if you are a leader in your company, and if you have people that look up to you, and I would assume every single person here is a leader, regardless of your role or responsibility, everybody is a leader, and you are contagious. And I don't mean that as you're sick contagious, but you are contagious. There's another great TED talk on that as well called You're Contagious. And as people, what we put off into this world, that affects other people hugely. And so let's change that up to a little bit of, yes, if we have a bad day, have a bad day. Sure, whatever, it happens. But don't let that last for forever. Give it 24 hours and let's keep moving on, because we do have to push through this. Our next principle here is our confident principle. And I'm sure, like all of you, we had a lot of confidence in business and in, you know, projection and money and everything for this next quarter and for the summer. And now we're like, how am I going to pay my employees? Or how am I going to get through all of this? That confidence has totally just like turned into this F word of failure. And so random little story about me here. I grew up in the islands of Hawaii, and I would go to the beach all the time, and I would just jump cliffs. We would jump the cliffs into the ocean or jump the waterfalls, and I'd just been doing this my whole life. And so in 2014, I moved to Mexico, and I was working and living in Mexico for a while, and we were visiting some fun cliff jumping areas. And this one particular cliff that I was jumping off of, I jumped off like the 15, 20 footer, you know, to kind of get the practice in. And then I went to the big cliff. It was like a 40-foot cliff. Now, this is a big jump, like that's high. And so I was like, I got this. I've got a lot of experience. I'm doing it. I was totally confident in this. And I go up there, and I was balanced on this like tiny little ledge or rock. So I didn't have like good balance to start with. And I jumped crookedly, and I landed wrong on the water, and I hit so hard that it broke my tailbone when I landed. I was in so much pain. I thought I was paralyzed. I couldn't move. I was like, it was horrible. So, you know, for my entire life of not being scared of heights, I've been skydiving, I've been doing all kinds of stuff. I've never been scared of this. One time that I failed, now I'm scared again. And so a couple of years ago, my husband is from the Dominican Republic, and we went to visit his family. And we went to an area where it's called 27 waterfalls, and we would jump off all of these 27 waterfalls. We climbed up a mountain, and to get down, you had to jump off all these waterfalls. And I was like, okay, I hope they're small. Well, then we came up to a waterfall that was a 25-foot waterfall cliff. I was like, ooh, remember the last time you jumped off one of these, Erica? Remember you busted your tailbone? Like, we do not want to repeat, because that was horrific for me. But I was like, you know, you get bucked off the horse, you got to get back on it. And so here we go. This doesn't look very high, but that's 25 feet. And I jumped. And I did it, and I was fine. Everyone was there to take care of me in case something happened, but I did get a little nervous. My confidence went down, but as I got back on that horse, as I did it again, I tried. Now I'm feeling better about myself if I ever go cliff jumping again. Moral of the story is, if you feel like you've done something that you failed at recently, I have talked to some business owners who have had to let many people go, and they've told me they completely regret it. They feel like a failure, and they feel like they let their people down, and they don't know how to bring them back. They don't know how it's going to work. And so they have this feeling of that failure, and it's just working with them and talking to them about how we can keep people and how we can get them back, and what we can do. Everybody's different. Another thing that I've seen recently is in customer service. If any of you are in customer service, which we all are, we all have clients. Right now, customer service is taking a huge hit, is because you have so many consumers calling in for customer service, needing help with stuff. And all your people that are doing, and all we're doing is saying, oh, I'm sorry, like, I can't help you, that's against our policy. Or, hey, I'm not able to do that. That's not what we normally do. Well, you guys, this is not a normal time. We have to be flexible. We have to be able to change our policies. I know we've had them there before, but we don't want to use that as an excuse. We still have to be proactive and show our customers that we have that confidence and we're going to take care of them in the way everybody needs to be taken care of for right now. So then our next part here is our listen principle. Stephen, tell us about this one.
This is one of my favorite principles, because I think sometimes we believe that we're listening and actually we're just simply hearing. So there's a big difference between listening and hearing. It's a great example is those that have a significant other. Sometimes my wife will be telling me a story and she'll say, "Are you listening?" I say, "Babe, I heard everything you said." And she says, "No, but you're not listening." It's because she means I'm not understanding, I'm not present, I'm not in the moment. And right now, when people have so much pain going on and uncertainty, we have to have this ability to listen and really engage with them. So the F word that we have here, we put up was Facebooking, because it's interesting. I saw a post the other day, because if you have an iPhone, Apple, it'll show you each week what your screen time is. And at end of, I think it was either Sunday, I got this little text and it shows what my screen time was. And my screen time had gone up like 24%, right? And then it laid out all of the places that I had been spending time, right? Like, for instance, I completely finished Netflix. What's next, right? But I'm just going to Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. I'm just going through the entire thing. And by the way, it's probably Carol Baskin's fault for this entire Corona thing, right? But if you're Facebooking and you simply spend an enormous amount of time, all of a sudden it really feels like the world is coming apart. And so when you're listening, it's about listening to your employees. It's about listening to your customers. It's about understanding what their pain is. One thing we've been encouraging contractors to do is simply to reach out to your clients. Simply call them, reach out to them. Most of them are home. Don't try to sell them anything, but just call and say, "Oh my goodness, what's going on? How are you? What can we do?" Right? And if they say, "Oh, but who are you again?" "We're Awesome Heated and Air," right? "We're the company that keeps you comfortable," right? "We were out there 6 months ago. We checked this. How's the system working? You know, do you have all the essentials? We have our service professionals out on the road right now. Would you like them to stop by and pick you up anything and drop it off? We could do that for you." Because now is a time to really listen, to discover what is missing, and then responding accordingly. And when you listen, it will show a customer that you care. And why this one is such a big one, interesting, Erica, is before this happened, so many people were just like, "I'm doing everything online. I don't need people. I could do everything online." And yet now that we're all isolated, you are seeing people are missing that connection. And so caring and showing that you care about them is truly about connecting with them. And so the F word that we had on this one is, are you being fake? Or are you really being genuine? Do you really care about your customers to connect with them right now? Right now is a great time to reach out to your clientele to just say, "How are you doing? What can we do?" And truly be there for them. So it's when you listen, it shows that you care. And I believe it's a connection. And this works for your inside employers as well, your employees, right? To not be fake, but to communicate with them. They need to know what's going on. This uncertainty and this panic is a great time. You should be having daily huddles every day with your team. Every day. This is what we have. This is what we're doing. This is what I see. This is where we're going. Because without that, all of a sudden my anxiety level starts to grow, right? And I start getting stressed. And then I start doing the what ifs. What if this happens? What if this happens? Oh my goodness. So start having those daily huddles and connect with your employees. What else we got, Erica?
Well, and for my husband, Giovanni, one thing they did, and I don't know if many of you are now working from home, which is not a normal dynamic. Usually everybody's used to going to an office and getting together and working side by side with people. And so same thing with my husband's job. And so what they did was, if any of you have heard of this chat program, it's called Slack. You're able to set that up with your employees and you can just connect with them. And it's just, he has this like chat box going on all day long with everybody in his department, that anybody, whatever they need, they're able to type that in and they can talk to each other. And it's so good for a leader or manager or an owner to monitor that, because if you notice your employees talking about the same thing 2 or 3 times, it's probably something that you need to start addressing and create a program for, create a policy for, or find some creative something to do for a customer or whatever it is. And so it's been huge for them because they're all used to working side by side. But now it's like they still can have that connection with each other and they're still there for each other. They're still able to help out. So,
Erica, if I can share one more thing with that.
Yeah.
Because we work from home. We've worked from home forever, right? That's just how we do. Erica's in Utah, the beautiful state of Utah. I'm in the great state of Texas, right? Woohoo, go Texas. But it's interesting, Erica, you talk about this Slack and this connection because Erica and I work closely together on some training things, and there are times when Texas, there we go, some chats coming in, right? Yeah, Melissa's in Service Nation. She's a rock star. But there are times when I get a text from Erica, and it's just a funny little GIF or something, but it puts a smile on my face, and it I know this kind of sounds so cheesy, Erica, but it gives me some inspiration to go, I got this. Someone else has my back. Someone cares about me. Because I'm with my family, my kids all day long. They're absolutely great. I love them. But because of some anxiety and stress we have right now, because we're having to create this new kind of dynamic and rebranding, it can get stressful. So sometimes Erica just sends a little text. Hey, this was awesome. You're great. And something small like that can really give someone the inspiration and hope they need. So I just wanted, that was a shout out to you, Erica, because it's absolutely really cool. So tell me about this GIVE principle.
Thanks, David. Yeah, it's great. Just even little text, little funny memes, anything to just connect with your team right now. And so with this GIVE principle, and I know we could take this a lot of different ways, but are we out there to be first in line? Are we trying to take first place? Or are we out there to serve? And so I know, Stephen, I think you have a story or something on or experience on this, but we need to especially take care of ourselves. I'm not saying we don't take care of ourselves, but we definitely need to help our team and put them first and really serve them in this time, especially with our clients. And I know that's hard to do. I know, how do we serve people when we're all remote? You know, what will make a difference for them?
And that's really a way of getting really creative, is putting others first and really serving them. And serving someone is different from service. There is a difference. But the quote that I had on that last slide was from Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, which, if you're not first, you're last, right? Ricky Bobby. Putting others first right now and thinking of ways to serve your employees, serving your team, serving your clients, serving the community, really comes from the heart. So that is the give first principle.
And our next one here is asking. A lot of us are really scared of this F word called feedback. Either we're scared to receive feedback because we feel like somebody's out to get us and we feel like it's a personal attack on us, or we're scared to give feedback because, you know, we feel like they're going to take it the wrong way. We don't want to cause contention. We've been dealing with it for the last 5 years. So I should have said something 5 years ago, but I didn't. So I'm just going to like suck it up and deal with it. So this word of feedback has a lot of like negativity associated with it. And I would definitely recommend not using the sandwich method for feedback. Like, hey, you're so awesome, but you know, you need to work on this. You're not so good with this, but hey, you're totally cool. Usually that sandwich method is completely ineffective because first off, everyone knows what you're doing. Two positives don't equal a negative in this case. And they just think that you're focusing on the negative, but trying to make them feel better. So it could kind of be like a little bit of manipulation here. So don't do that sandwich method. We're happy to teach you a different method for doing feedback. I'm not going to get into that today. But when you need to talk to your team, so for instance, there was an example that came up of, you know, people are doing like skeleton crews. And so you have like only 3 to 4 people in the office at a time, and they're all separated in all their different spots. And there was this one example that somebody said was they had a coworker that thought all the coronavirus stuff was just like completely nuts, and people were, you know, overdoing it, and it was being blown out of proportion. And so they were still going out and doing all their stuff. They didn't take precautions. They didn't care. They weren't like sanitizing stuff. And it made another coworker in the office really uncomfortable. And that's a weird conversation to have. Like if I'm just going up to Steven, I'm like, hey, Steven, you're not taking care of yourself in coronavirus stuff. You're not using hand sanitizer. You know, that's just kind of an awkward conversation to have. Like, I can't work with you at the same time. So how do you get comfortable being uncomfortable giving feedback and talking to people about these awkward conversations? Like if I really needed to tell Steven that I felt uncomfortable because he wasn't using hand sanitizer, how would I do that? And so I'm not going to get into logistics of the feedback process, but understanding that if feedback comes from a genuine place, and if we set it up with the best of intentions, like, hey, Steven, my number one priority right now is to make sure that you and I can be as successful and productive working together. I have had some concerns because at home we have small kids or elderly. And so I just have to be super, super careful about all of this stuff. And I know you've mentioned it's not a big deal to you, but if there's something that we can set up here so that we can, you know, make sure that I'm respecting you and you're respecting me for our different decisions, can we talk about that and create a plan of action? If I can go into it and just have that conversation instead of being scared of it, it's just getting comfortable being uncomfortable. So that's our F word for our ask principle is feedback.
Creating value in unique ways. What's important to your customers? What's the F word? Flake? Sorry I had to cancel last minute, but it took me forever to think of an excuse I haven't used before. So are you being a flake or are you being real? Creating value, which, you know, back in the day, we used to create value by saying, oh, we've got fully stocked trucks. So our technicians are certified, they're trained, they're NATE certified. We've been in business X amount of years. And some of that is valuable to some some clients. However, right now, what is important to them is health and safety. And so creating value in unique ways now is talking about how you are creating value in safety to them. What are we doing in the field, you know, of using N95 mask, of using a fresh pair of gloves, of wiping down our iPad, wearing floor savers, putting tarps down, cleaning all of our tools, taking temperatures every day. We can actually, you know, do this remotely. I can take a look at this. And so are you being a flake for your customers, or are you creating a teamwork for your customers as well? So this is an interesting time to be building value, and I know that it's hard sometimes to find some PPE equipment out there. It does exist. You just got to get really creative to protect your team at this time of uncertainty. So that's creating value.
Sorry, Steven, keep going.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I know we do have a lot of contractors on here today. And so what we've done is we've created tons of scripts for inbound and outbound phone calls. And so if you guys need help with scripting for working with customers, we have some very specific ones set up for that. Apart from the contractor side, if anyone needs help creating good scripts for their particular situations, we're really happy to help out with that as well if you want to let us know some of the dynamics you're working with. But really coming together as a team right now and not flaking out on each other, but really bridging that gap of disconnection, that we're all disconnected in a way, but how can we still be connected with each other? And our last principle here is our grateful principle. And gratitude, a lot of times we might feel like we're in a funk right now. I don't know about you guys, but like was it yesterday or the day before? I felt like I was just like the day was like 75 hours long. And it was like, I'm bored of Netflix. I'm bored of everything. I'm working like 9-10 hours a day at home because now I'm home. And so I just work. And I don't want to go outside because I want to respect, you know, everybody else with social distancing. I'm okay doing that. I have enough stuff to last me for the next month. Like I just felt like I was in this funk though for this a couple days ago. And I didn't have motivation to like even read a book. I didn't have motivation to like even like call my family and see how they're doing. Like I just was blah. And I don't know if anybody else has felt like that either, but it's like you're in a funk. And I was like, I can't live like this. I can't keep up with this. This was my one day. I got to change it up for tomorrow. And so the next day I was like, hey, Giovanni, my husband, I was like, we got to get outside. Like we had an earthquake in Utah a few weeks ago as well. And so then like you had earthquake, you had coronavirus, and then there was just so much stuff. And I would gyms are closed. We haven't been working out good. So I was like, we got to go for a run. And so it was like 8 p.m. and it's freezing outside. But we went for like a 5K run and we just went for it. I was so cold, got back, and like, you know, when the cold hits your lungs and I don't know about you in Florida, you don't know what that means, just kidding. But the cold hit my lungs. So I was like coughing and I'm like, crap, I got coronavirus while I was out for a run. Like, but it was just like this cold cough in my lungs but I was like, that just totally got me set up for the next day. And I wasn't in that funk anymore. One of the things that I do is I try to be very consistent with a gratitude journal. Having that perspective of gratitude, it doesn't make the crappy and hard things go away, but it gives me that perspective and gets me out of that funk, doing those little things that are the habits that are creating me to become the kind of person that I truly want to be. And so for all of our friends out here, these are some of our favorite F words. I know we have a few minutes left. We got about 10 minutes for questions, or if anybody has a favorite F word or something that's been inspiring to them or something that they've overcome in the last few weeks, we'd love to hear about it, hear your experiences, and of course your favorite F word.
So are you asking people to chat their favorite F word?
Or say it. I mean, whatever goes. Just kidding.
Or talk.
Colleen, what's
Faith.
your favorite F word?
Easy. Colleen. This is PG-13.
Sorry, guys. All right. So that's really hard now.
Ooh.
Faith is a big one for me, if we're not going the other direction, of course. Fabulous. There's the other one. There you go.
I like it.
Persistence, fun, financial. Emery said fun. How cool is that?
Great one.
That is a great attitude.
Who said that one?
Emery.
Emery, do you want to jump on and tell us what you've been doing for fun? How has that been your word throughout this time?
Everybody's so shy.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I did see, oh wait, I would agree with Faith. We get through this and we will overcome. Thank you for such a great call. This is inspiring. No, you guys are awesome. Melissa, one of our favorite friends over at Service Nation Alliance.
Favorite and friends. Look at you go, Stephen.
Yeah. What?
Favorite, friends. You got 2 F words there. Good job.
Fortitude.
Ooh, flexible.
That's a good one.
Freedom. Ooh, Deb, freedom.
Very good.
Amen to that one. Fortitude. Family. Even in quarantine, family. Yes. Follow through. I love it.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's been
ferocious.
so cool to do virtual happy hours with people. So the fun part, is just to connect with people that I haven't been able to connect with in a long time. And I mean, we're quarantined. We have all this time in the evening. So I love being able to get on. You can go to Messenger, create a group in Facebook, and then you can do a video call with people. And it's just been so fun just to really connect and support each other and share what you're doing too. So I think that's been really, really good for me.
I just have to say, Melissa, you are so good at that naturally that I love that you are still going with that, even in quarantine, that you found a way to still do that, because you're so good with connecting with people. You're always out there, you know, just with people all the time, making everyone feel so good about themselves. And so I love that you're still doing that in a different way than you normally have before, and you're still giving people your awesome personality. So that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Aw. Yeah, if anybody wants to have happy hour, let me know.
Oh,
Funny filters required.
yeah, it looks like Melissa asked a question about using the feedback formula, so we could definitely share that.
Absolutely.
This is Erica's email. This is my email. We do have an inbound and an outbound script that we'd love to share with you. We'd love to share with you the feedback formula. We would love to come back on and do another webinar with the women of HVAC, Colleen, only because we think you guys are absolutely amazing. So, Erica, you want to wrap us up, or what we got?
Sure, absolutely. So you guys know where to find us. Thank you so much for having us, Colleen. We appreciate it. We hope that some of these F words are inspiring and to get us through, just like Melissa said, with everything, this the happy hour. We want this to kind of be that happy hour of, hey, we're connected. We can keep going. I have a little like fuel in my tank that I can keep going through the weekend and get going for Monday. I think that's one of the beautiful things about all of these virtual meetings we're having. It's just to connect and help each other keep going. And so we're so happy to be a part of it. And yeah, if anyone has any other questions or comments, this is how you find us. Let us know what you need. We'll help you out. And I guess we'll talk next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
I
you,
just
guys.
want to give a couple announcements on what we're doing for the next couple of weeks as far as Zoom in schedule. We do have a Zoom in planned for the 17th. What we actually are running into is the fact that our Women HVACR board meetings are on the second Friday of every month. It's a new schedule for us. So that we kind of a plan around not doing those Fridays. So going forward, we will be having, so far we have, obviously today's the 3rd, we're going to have one on the 17th, we're going to have one on the 24th. Then we're going to continue by having one on the 1st. We're not going to do the 8th, but we'll do the 15th after that. So we're going to have the schedule posted as soon as we get it and send the email out to everybody, but we are pretty well set for topics through the rest of this month for sure. And then going into May, of course, like I think we have some set aside right now. I know Sarah and I have been working on that, and Sarah especially has some amazing guests that she has lined up. So right now for the 17th, we actually have Leads Nearby, one of our Women HVACR sponsors, coming on the call. I'm not really sure what their topic is yet, but they are presenting on the 17th. But we will be taking a break next week. And in the meantime, guys, please join our Facebook group. Get involved in the conversation. There's tons of stuff going on in there as far as people just reaching out, looking for ideas, looking for support, you know, offer up some advice, get involved. And if you want to reach out to us, it is info@womeninhvacr.org. And you can also check out our website for any event updates. Hopefully we'll be able to replan some stuff for the fall, and we'll keep you posted there. So tune in next time. And again, please stay safe and stay healthy, guys, and hopefully we'll get through this soon. Thank you for coming. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. All right.
You're a nut, Stephen. I love it.